My name is Kay Jackson, and I serve as a coordinator for the Young at Art group in Bolivar, Missouri. This group consists of retirees who are 60 years and older. This past Christmas, my family and I were in St. Louis, Missouri, and we decided to go to the St. Louis Art Museum. And we thought, we've never heard of Kiefer, and I'm terribly sorry to tell you that. But when I first walked into the room, I stopped. I could not move. Sure, I had seen large art pieces before, but nothing like these. To come from the background of Germany and now live in Paris and continue to produce fine art, it's wonderful. The size didn't matter anymore. It was his technique, his ability to use many different materials. Some of his pieces looked like they were 4 inches, 5 inches deep. When I returned to Bolivar, I shared Kiefer's work with our group. I challenged them to think outside their norm and develop a painting that would follow these guidelines. 1, do not work from pictures or plein air. 2, work only from your heart and head leads you to paint. 3, use any medium. 4, do not use words. Make your painting speak for you. And it was difficult. I will admit I had some looks that probably added years to my life, but it worked. And the pieces we're going to show you today are what came from my very first experience in St. Louis, Missouri at the St. Louis Art Museum. So I thank you for having the foresight to bring his work to St. Louis and allowed us in rural Missouri to enjoy his technique and his ability in our own artwork.
Hi, my name is Becky Rock. After thinking about it for a while, I came up with this picture, and the title of the picture is called Loneliness versus Solitude. And as you'll see, there's a tiny little figure here. The reason that I painted it and gave it that title was there's 2 different ways of looking at the world. You can look at it as a beautiful place, peaceful, and you'll have solitude. And the other way is through loneliness. You can sit there and think how big the world is and how small you are. And so I used a lot of different elements here. These are blue jean patches, and this is embroidery thread. These are little beads. While I was painting it, I just got lost in the whole picture, almost as if I'm the one sitting there. Hi, my name is Sandra Hornbassel. I've been going to the art class for 2 or 3 years now. Learned a lot. I'm basically a crafter. I was born with epidermolysis bullosa. It's a rare skin disorder. These are the items I use in my daily use of dealing with EB. This is our symbol because our skin is so fragile. It's our mascot, I would say. The butterfly is. This is new treatments here and here. I waited 60 years for treatments, and they are doing wonderful things. I took tissue paper for skin because my skin breaks. I use marbles for blisters. I use bandages. I use acrylic paint with baking soda to make the scabs. This is what my skin looks like after healing. It turns purple. I really enjoy Kiefer's work, and I love Kay that she inspired me to really think out of the box. I normally don't share my EB with anyone. If someone comes to me, I tell them about it. But it was really good to the heart, and I thank Kay and the art group for that.
So when Kay brought Kiefer into our classroom, it was the beginning of the year, and I was dealing with a couple of major losses at that time. I did a couple sketches to do a painting like everyone else was doing. Some of my thoughts and feelings I just could not put out there, and it took me a long time to get used to the idea of trying to do this project. The things I wanted to express were things from deep in my heart that I just didn't feel like I could tell people. Kiefer did have a couple of women that he had made sculptures of, and I thought, I can do that. I can throw a bunch of cloth over a cone and put some sticks in their hair. And Kay's like, no, you can't do that. So I began working on me. I made this sculpture of a woman, and all of the fabrics and beads and buttons are reminiscent of a memory that I've had in my life. I didn't use sticks, but I did use a pine cone for a ponytail because that's how I used to wear my hair quite a bit. The tree has the yellow ribbons, and that is in honor of my brother who served in Vietnam. I can say that this project was very healing, brought through a lot of emotion, helped me to work through some of the things that I was dealing with. And so art serves many, many purposes, if not to the viewer, to the artist itself.
My name is John Gillett. I have a professional art background, but now I'm 91 years old, and I've done a lot of different things in art. This group has become special to me because when you're working in professional art, all you talk about is the nuts and bolts of art and what you achieved and what you didn't achieve. This group, coming from all kinds of different backgrounds in art, have influenced me to get involved in their life, what their life has been like. So this is a completely different journey for me that I've really come to love a lot. 10 years ago, I would never have done anything like this. You know, I was pretty photographic, pretty realistic. The thing that I ever did in school, all the other artists would say, it looks earthy. And I pondered that for a while. So this is why I came up with just trees and just different colors that I would never use 10 years ago. I got a lot of enjoyment out of doing this. I think this group has a great future. We get people that come in here that won't even hardly talk to us about anything in their life, and especially art. They're intimidated by not having any art training. So we adjust to them by just loving them where they're at and encouraging them to make that next step that they're not too sure about they're going to make it, you know. It's been a wonderful journey, and I'm proud to be associated with it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Garland Roberts, and this is my interpretation of Kiefer's work. I'm not normally a dark person, but for some reason, in my mind, the poem Invictus kept coming to me. Whenever I get down, I think of the last line, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. Because Kiefer was born in 1945, he played among the rubble of Germany after the bombings of the war was over. And the Holocaust has always stayed with him because in Germany, they didn't talk about it. So this is my interpretation of moving from darkness to light. And in this, I have used twigs, rocks, bottle caps. These are acorns. This is symbolizing the fires. If you're trying to head to the light. So I started with spackling paint and then painted it all in kind of an ombre effect.
I'm Donna Levin, and when Kay first suggested this project to us, I wasn't all in favor of it, needless to say. Most of his were dark and moody. That isn't me. And so I really struggled for weeks. I procrastinated and fiddled and didn't do much. And she said, not pictorial, but she said something that reaches your soul. And one of my favorite memories is time I spent riding horses in the mountains with my husband, and I love bright and cheery. And so I thought, well, I may not embrace all of what she suggested, but I could embrace the textures and using unusual materials. So I added a few little bits of glass. Then for my puffy clouds, you know, those little felt things that go on the bottom of chairs, they are clouds to me. Then I thought, okay, mountains are all different textures. What can I do to create mountain? Got out the foil. Tin foil is always good for sculpting something. These are little spines off of this tree. Then I began with the fabric for the softer hills. I had a banana peel for my lunch, and so I let it dry. And sure enough, it looks kind of like bark when you let it dry and twist it and form it. Used dried orange peels to create the fall leaves. Actually, as much as I hate to admit it to Kay, it was a fun project. It took me several weeks of looking at it, leaving it setting up in my dining room and going, now what? But that is how I created my version of Kiefer's work. Light and bright, though.
Hi, I'm Lois Minnick, and this is my Ansel Kiefer painting that I did. I kind of looked through books, tried to find something that I could do. didn't really figure I could do anything, so I just started painting. And then it got to be the day that they were due, and I only had it about half done, so we sat down and I just started going to town. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you get tired of it this way on the wall, you can always do this. I brought more smiles to people's faces, and that's what I like to do. I like people to enjoy what I'm doing.